radical Hebrew Israelites? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Giving all praise to Yahweh now, Shabbat Shemakakwadash. Now, I was going through some sites and I came across a SPLC, which is Southern Poverty Law Center. And I went to the section that speaks on the, well, we're no longer Black Hebrew Israelites. And you know why? Because there's so many other, you got the tribes, you got the Sicilians, you got the Scottish, you got the Irish that look just like Edomites but are Israelites. So they can no longer use the term or the phrase Black Hebrew Israelites because there's as many white Hebrew Israelites as they are Black Hebrew Israelites. So they had to change the narrative a bit. So and they like that word radical. When was he radicalized? He saw those Hebrew Israelite video. He became radicalized. Anyway, it says in other topics. Okay, we're gonna hit a bunch of topics. I don't really have anything planned, but I'm basing off of this. So it says, and I'm gonna pull out some words. It says, since the 1960s, the radical Hebrew Israelites ideology splintered to form increasingly anti-Semitic and anti-white. Well, wait a minute. We got white members of the Hebrew Israelites. So how can we be white? It's not so much of a color thing than it is what's in your spirit. If your line goes back to Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob ultimately out of Jacob came the Israelites, right? Tribe of Gad, tribe of Judah, tribe of Benjamin, so forth. Some of them mix among the nations, right? What is that in Hosea? They mixed them. As a matter of fact, let me get that. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. Let's see if I can find that. They mixed. Let's see what comes up. Okay, that's not it. Let me do it this way. Cake, not turn. Let's try this. See what comes up. Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted. Hosea 7, verse 8, Ephraim, which is a tribe of Ephraim. Now you got Ephraimites that look just like Edomites. I've met Ephraimites that had blind hair and blue eyes, but they had rhythm, Their spirit was a spirit of an Ephraimite. You have so-called Black Ephraimites, which a lot of them are Benjamin and Judah. You have like the, mestizos. You have the Indian, indigenous looking type, the Indian type, and then you have the white type, right? Now, some of them white ones are actually Edomites, but a lot of them that are blonde hair, blue eye, look, pasty white. Watch them dance. There's a dance called the salsa. Salsa just means flavor, and you can see the way they dance that they definitely one of the tribes, and that's one way I judge if you're an Israelite based upon the way you dance. Now there's Edomites that have movements, but they're robotic. But anyway, it says Ephraim have mixed himself among the people. What people? The people of the other nations. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Now, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me see what the commentary says. I always go to the commentary just to see what these Christian scholars have to say about the precepts. Okay, here we go. Let me bring this over here. Okay, right here. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. Just got to bear with me. Okay, Ephraim, New International Version, Ephraim mix with the nations. That's a better translation. Ephraim mixes with the nations. Ephraim is a flat loaf, not turned over. New Living Translation. The people of Israel mingled, this goes off, mingled with godless foreigners. I like that one though. Making themselves as worthless as half-baked cake. Don't ever rely on New Living Translation. Should be the old dead translation. English Standard Version. Let's see what that says. Ephraim mixed himself with the people, the other nations, in the new NIV. That says the other nation. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Berean Study Bible. Ephraim mixes with the nations. I like this. Ephraim is an unturned cake. King James Version, KJV. Ephraim, he have mixed himself among the people meaning nations. NIV, Ephraim is a cake not turned. New King James, Ephraim have mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake unturned, says the same thing. Ephraim is himself thrown about with the nations. Or that I like that. He thrown about, they lay with other nations. Ephraim has become a round loaf not turned over. Now it says cake right here, right? So now let's do this. Let's go to the commentary. I like to go to Cambridge because it's the shortest. It says Cambridge Bible for Schools and Colleges, the outward evidence of Israel's decay. He have mixed himself with among the people. Rather, he mixed himself among the peoples, the other nations. How? By courting the favor now of Egypt, now of Assyria. A cake not turned, burnt to a coal at the bottom, raw dough at the top. So in the ancient world, when you made cakes or bread, which is the same thing, bread, cake, pretty much the same thing. Cakes are normally sweeter than bread. You cook, like we a lot of times we go to Indian restaurants, East Indian restaurants, and we'll get a bread called naan. And on one side of bread, it's kind of brown. It's part of it could be burnt a little bit because they cook it on an ancient oven. And it takes, 3 seconds? You throw it, you put it on the thing, you throw it on one side. So one side is always light, all right? The other side is always dark. So if you don't turn around and cook the other side, one side is going to be light. What does that mean? Parabolically, poetically, it means that you're going to have Ephraimites that have a lighter complexion generally than like the tribe of Judah. So I don't got to read anymore. So they kind of break it down. So that's why they no longer call us Black Hebrew Israelites, because there's a lot of Israelites in all the camps. You got a lot of them in our GMS, and you got some in the ISUPK, and you got a very few. You got a good amount in the IUIC and the Sakari. All right. So now let's come back. over here. So they no longer call us Black Hebrew Israelites. They call us radical Hebrew Israelites. So it says, and then they're going to list the top 4 Israelite groups out there. And guess who's on the list? GMS. Anyway, it says since the 1960s, the radical Hebrew Israelites ideology splintered to form increasingly anti-Semitic. So they use the word Semitic, anti-Semitic. How the hell can we be anti-Semitic if we're Semitic? I don't understand that. Let me do this. Semitic, let's put in just Semitic. Let me go to Semitic people, Semites, Semitic people, or Semitic cultures was a term of an ethnic, cultural, or racial group. The terminology is now largely obsolete outside the grouping. Semitic language, it's not telling me nothing. Relating to or denoting a family of languages that includes Hebrew. We speak Hebrew, right? We don't speak it fluently. In the kingdom, we're going to be speaking it. Arabic. Who speaks Arabic? Arab people, Ishmaelites, Midianites, Aramic, Middle Eastern people, and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician, which is Lashwan Kodash, or ancient Hebrew, or Paleo-Hebrew, and Akkadian constitutes the main subgroups of the wait a minute, Afro-Asiatic family. Afro-Asiatic. These were dark people that originally lived there. The missing link are the Edomites, relating to the peoples who speak Semitic languages, especially Hebrew and Arabic. So guess what? How can we be anti-Semitic if we're Semitic? Doesn't make sense. Increasingly anti-Semitic, anti-white. Nope, we have white people. We have white people that are in the camps, in all of the camps. If you go to ISUPK, you got the Latin tribe, you got a Captain Katazak, if I'm saying his name right. Very good teacher, by the way. I like that brother's style. He's a very, very good teacher. Him and Captain Tazariak, they work good together. And I be watching their shows, and I don't have, and when I watch their shows, I don't have any too much negative to say about them because they're on point. They go off on certain things, but they're on point. He was teaching the Hebrew, he was going into the Hebrew, he was getting down. I mean, he was getting down. I said, damn, I didn't know he knew the Hebrew like that. He was getting down. But anyway, he looks like a small hat. He looks just like a small hat. But as soon as he opens his mouth, they ain't nothing but Jake. So you're gonna have Jakes that's gonna look like so-called white people. So they had to change the name. Here it goes again, radical Hebrew Israelites instead of Black Hebrew Israelites. They had a meeting. We can't use that term Black because there's too many of them that look white. Anti-white, and then they say anti-LGBTQ. Well, what's anti-LGBTQ? The Bible. So we condemn you. Why don't you say we're anti-adultery? Because we're against adultery. Why don't you say they anti-eating pork? Well, it's all through the scriptures. So if somebody from the so-called LGBTQIA roll up on us and they say, well, you guys are, you're against us. And we'll say, well, you know what? You know who's ultimately against you? The Most High and the scriptures. And you show them the scriptures. But what did Esau do? What did this devil do? He allows, they have churches out there where you have people of the LGBTQIA community that are pastors and ministers. They marry couples of the same gender. A man marrying a man, a woman marrying a woman. So you're supposed to be against it. The scriptures speak about rebuking somebody. Our measuring stick, pursuant to Revelation 11 chapter, is the scriptures, are the scriptures. So you're supposed to tell them, no, you're not supposed to be laying with your father's wife. You're not supposed to be laying with your best friend's girl. So why isn't that in there? So if we're against LGBTQ, it's because the scriptures is against it. And that's why ultimately this place is going to be destroyed. Xenophobic. Let's look up the word xenophobic. Xenophobic, having or showing a dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. Well, that's the American way. In order for you to be a true blue American, you got to hate these people from these other countries, man. So what the hell are they talking about? And you small hats, I came up around you small hats. They don't let you around their functions, man. If you're a goyim, they call you a goyim. Now we don't want to get into the Talmud, as King Mo would say, Talmudi. They go against the nations, man. They call us goyim. Let me see if I can spell that out. Goyim. I think it's spelled Goyim. Goyim. Let me see what happens. Let me do, maybe it's A. Goyim. Definition or meaning. Let's see what comes up. Okay, maybe it's spelled this way. Please forgive me. Goyim. Let's see if this is it. A Jewish word for Gentiles. Like, in other words, the small hats look down upon the Goyim, the other nations. Anyone who isn't of the Jewish faith as described by someone who is a different spelling, see Goyim. Let me try this. Means non-Jewish. Non-Jewish or not belonging to the Jewish community. So that's racism right there. Nationalism. Let's come on back. I've got to find where I left off right here. Misogynistic. Meaning hatred of prejudice against women. No, how can we have hatred against women? We have women, we have women, we have wives, we have mothers and so forth. Feelings showing or characterized by hatred or prejudice against women. So that they going on, but this is how the devil operates. This is how the devil operates. Where am I? I gotta find. Okay, right here. A sect of groups who preach they and only they are the true Israelites. And yes, of course, we preach that, because when you go to the scriptures, the curses fit us. Yoke of iron upon thy neck. You shall go into Egypt again with ships. You should be sold unto your enemy for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy yours or redeem you. So we are those people, because you can't be the people and we be the people at the same time. We're the people and you guys are the imposters, and that's in Revelation 2:9. True Israelites, and that's the threat. That's the threat. That's why they call us a hate group, a radical group, because we're a threat to them, and we're not a physical threat to them. The physical threat is going to come from the Most High. The threat is the truth, that ultimately you will go down and we will come up, and you other nations will be our slaves. That's only biblical. I'm only reading it from the Bible, from the prophetic parts of the scriptures. It says of the Bible, and perpetuate the anti. There it goes. They said it already. Anti-Semitic. They said it already. How many times are you gonna say anti-Semitic? And we are Semitic, so we can't be anti ourselves, because you know what they did? They hijacked this term anti-Semitic to themselves. So what are they showing you? They're showing you that they discriminate against the Goyim by saying that they're the only Semitic. No, you're not the only Semitic. Anybody that came out of Shem would be called Semitic. Chinese people are Semitic. Japanese people are Semitic. Korean people are Semitic. Edomites, you people are Semitic. Yes, I will agree. You are Semitic. We are Semitic. Who else? The Arab tribes, for the most part. Ishmael, Semitic. The Indians are Semitic. But you hijack that term and put it on yourself, that you're Semitic people. Semitic belief that so-called Jews, or small hats we call them, have stolen their identity and birthright. Yes, they did. Because we took your birthright first, and your job was to steal it back. But it was all set up in the spirit. This disclaimer, SPLC uses the term radical Hebrew Israelites to differentiate from the greater Hebrew Israelite faith. What does that mean? Oh yeah, these weak ass Israelites. See, they're not they separate us from them. Ain't nobody talking about these people. Ain't nobody talking about these people. Ain't nobody focusing on this is a picture from the Commandment Keepers, if I'm not mistaken. And Abba Bivens was a part of it. He broke off, he set up his own thing. And the reason why he broke off and set up his own thing, because he was Elijah, the prophet. Okay, you got these people here. I believe these are the Benjamin people. So they're not talking about them. Okay, so it says Rabbi Matthew, which this individual right here is Rabbi Matthew. This is the commandment keepers, which Albert Bivens was a part of the commandment keepers. It says Rabbi Matthew, and by the way, this group only believed in the Old Testament Israelites. Second from the left, that's him. At table, founder of the commandment keepers, leading Passover Seder, and what, way back in 1941. These people are not a threat. The ones that are the threat are the ones that stem out of One West. And the reason why these people are not a threat, because they're saying that they're Israel. So the small hats have no problem with them saying that they're Israel. But what we say is that as Israelites, we're going to be raised up, the saints of the most. We got a woman preacher. So you know that these people are not a threat. And neither are we. It's the Most High is a threat. So now let's come back over here. So they say this is the radical Hebrew Israelites to differentiate from the greater, better, higher, more people, bigger numbers, Hebrew Israelite faith. Hebrew Israelites should not be confused with Black Jews or Jewish individuals of color, which are these people that I just showed you, the Rabbi Matthews and the commandment keepers. Hebrew Israelites should not be confused with the Black Jews or Jewish individuals of color. SPLC no longer refers to these groups as solely Black Hebrew Israelites, as there are Latin and indigenous members of these groups, and there are non-radical sects of the Hebrew Israelite faith who identifies as Black Hebrew Israelites. The continued struggle of Black indigenous people of color in America can find clear similarities in the narrative of Judaism, particularly the book of Exodus. Yeah, because the people in the Exodus were not small hats. These are people of color. It was said of Moses that if the power told him to stick his hand in his bosom, he stuck it in and pulled it out and it turned white. Then he put his hand back in his bosom, he took it out and it went back to his natural flesh. So what does that mean if he turned white? That means he had to be a man of color, brown skin. Excuse me. So all Israelites of color are not a threat. It's the One West that's a threat. Now let me come down. And what they're really mad at is the fact that we found out who they are in the Bible. That's why, right here, these anti-Semitic beliefs influenced the mainstream as well in 2020. In the 2020 episode of actor and comedian Nick Cannon podcast, Cannon's Class, Cannon and his guest Professor Griff laid out the theory that Black people are the true Semitic people. So what happened? He almost lost his job. They got on him. Why? Because he told the truth. Then he even had a small hat come on and browbeat him. So this is a spiritual threat to these people. Cannon claimed Jews, have taken our birthright, which they did, although neither Cannon nor Griff are known to be members of any radical Hebrew Israelite group. Yeah, because the truth is out there. So you have people that are outside of our so-called group that agree with what we say. This idea is at the core of radical Hebrew Israelite beliefs. And like it's starting to spread. You got actors doing it. We got to straighten that guy out. We got to make an example of him. They put it to him in the back, in the green room. They put it to it. He said, "We're gonna have a real a real small hat coming straighten your ass out." Then he was like, "Cower down," because there's a threat. They got to keep that lie going. That's why you got a group called the Southern Poverty Law Center. You got to keep that lie going. Okay, let me go. I lost my place. Radical Hebrew Israelite beliefs, a shared view among the groups is their claim that the Jews are actively working to steal the identity of the Hebrew Israelites. They stole it already. They're in the land already. And the UN, these other nations, which are our enemies, they have no problem with that. By any means necessary, Cannon and Griff also presented the idea that Jews control the media for the most part that they do. We don't have the full truth of the proof of it, but you go to the top levels of the media, it's always, but you have other nations of Edomites up in there, but they control things behind the scenes. Specifically that all media is controlled by 6 major companies. And it's really hard to prove because they got front people, you know? They further insinuate that the Jews were connected with these 6 companies. Cannon brought up the Rothschilds. Rothschilds, a major family right there, conspiracy. You know what I'm gonna do? No, I'm not gonna do that. Cannon followed up by denying these statements were hate. Yeah, there's a difference between truth and hate. If a woman say, "Do I look fat?" and you say, "Yeah, you kind of fat. You need to cut down on the carbs," she's gonna say, "You hate me." They're gonna get emotional, you know? Or does this outfit look good on me? You look like a damn clown. That's hate. I left him because he hates me. He shows me nothing but hate. No, he showed you nothing but truth. It said you can't be anti-Semitic when we are the Semitic people. That's what Cannon said. And when Small has said that they're Semitic people, of course they're Semitic people. They're Semitic Hebrew Edomites. When we are the same people who they wanted to be, that's our birthright. After being confronted over his comments by who? The Small Hat, Cannon walk them back saying, "I do not condone hate speech." It wasn't hate speech. What we teach or what we speak about is not hate speech, it's truth speaks. Now, in truth, can you hate somebody? When somebody kills somebody else, the family is going to show hate in the court, right? And if they pronounce sentencing, the father might jump over and grab the guy, but they don't arrest him for assault. They understand that he's emotional, but that's hate. There's a thing called justifiable hate. If somebody ripped me off, I purchase a car, I got a guarantee on it that the car is 100%. Then I got nothing but problems, and I go back to the guy, and the guy closed up shop, and you got to search for him. You're going to develop hate in your heart. Hate is just another emotion. The scriptures say, "Be angry, but sin not." It says, "I do not condone hate speech nor the spread of hateful rhetoric." See, they mistake truth for hate. When we say that they're not the people, see, you're a hate group. You're anti-Semitic. No, we're telling truth. The Black and Jewish community have both faced enormous hatred. Well, actually, the so-called Black community. Why? Because we're the Jews, we're the Israelites. oppression, persecution. Hey, these small hats ain't catching no help. They ain't catching no help. I said this in the past. I work with them a whole bunch for years. I've been in their communities. They're living good. You don't hear no gunshots. The houses are clean. The kids are playing. I pick these people up. They come out of these McMansions. So they're not, ain't nobody showing them hate. All right, we're showing them truth. We're telling them that the truth, that they're the Edomites. We had this two small hats come up to us a couple of years back. We were speaking, and we were cool with them. And we basically said, "Are you familiar with the story of Jacob and Esau?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know you are the Esau? You come from Esau?" And you know what they did? They looked at each other. They walked down the street, man. Then one of them didn't have a beard, and I said, "Where's your beard at?" And they walked down. They didn't want to hear nothing. Was that hate? No, it was truth. Am I become your enemy because I give you the truth? That's what the Apostle Paul said in Galatians 4. The Black and Jewish communities have both faced enormous hatred, oppression, persecution, and prejudice. The small hats didn't face there's no record of the small hats having yokes of iron put upon their neck in the American chattel slavery. For thousands of years, and in many ways, have and will continue to work together. No, we ain't working together with them because they're not the people to overcome these obstacles. He has committed to educate himself on anti-Semitism. Educate himself meaning re-educated. He had to get right. He had to keep that lie going. If you want to make the money, if you want to still, that's why he's still relevant. That's why he still could do shows, because he cowed down to these people. Okay, let me go here, and then I'm gonna get ready to close. Okay, let me read this. I'm gonna read the history. It says background, history, the most prominent groups. So we're getting this word out there, man. They know they got my name, Elder Tahar, they got Johanna, the Bishop Nate, and they got Guerrilla Hebrew. So they were really watching us. It says history, the group defined as a radical Hebrew Israelite. This is their word. They said, nah, we can't use black no more. Let's call them radical. By the SPLC are a part of the One West or One West ideology formed in the 60s by Abba Bivens, which we believe that's Elijah coming back. And if that's Elijah coming back, what does it say in Malachi 4? He shall turn the heart to the father, to the children of the father, least I come and smite the earth with a curse, or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. But anyway, if this Abba Bivens, if he's actually Elijah fulfilling prophecy, coming back as Abba Bivens, then who are the fathers? Who are the fathers and the children? Marsha, Aria, and Yaquab. Those are the men. And they would have to be Peter, James, and John coming back. And where do we come from? We learned up under them. So when you say Abba Bivens, if any of you Israelites teaching, One West is teaching that Abba Bivens is Elijah, you have to also acknowledge that Marsha, Aria, and Yaquab are part of that lineup. And Bishop Nate, you went against, you split High Priest Aria from Marsha from High Priest Aria and Yaquab. That was a wicked act that you did. That's why when you go on certain shows, you don't even mention, Marsha, Aria, and Yaquab, or even Abba. You said that you was a what is it? You was a Muslim, and then you was a Christian, and then you was a Muslim, and then you started studying things, which is a lie. You're living a lie. You're living a lie. You're basically Han from Enter the Dragon. Anyway, it says Abba Bivens, and named after the street address of the original school in the Harlem neighborhood of New York City. Bivens called for the return to a more extreme adherence to religious texts. At his sect splintered, at this sect splintered, it gave rise to the much of the hate-filled belief. No, it's truth-filled belief. We're telling you the truth. When we say you're going into captivity, we have the scriptures to back it up. He that leaveth in the captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. That's truth. And then it says in Ezekiel 25 and 12, one down, it says we're going to do it based upon the anger of the Father, not based upon our anger. The Most High going to put the Spirit on us. Did not the Most High, the Heavenly Father, did not He ordered Moses and the children of Israel to go into the land of Canaan and kill off all the Canaanites, the men, women, and the children? That's what the Most High said. Okay, so it says belief exhibited by radical Hebrew Israelites. We list today among the most prominent groups. There is consensus in most beliefs, but they lack unity and often compete and slander each other. The most prominent groups are Israel United in Christ, IUIC, led by Bishop Nathaniel Ben Israel, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, and the ISUBK back in the day was Israeli School, a completely different name. When you go to get a charter, when you go to get a 501c3, in order for you to say that you're the original school, the name would be Israeli School. That's why, General Yohana uses the acronym. Because I still got my membership card. It's right in arm's reach. And what it said was the Israeli school. So this is a completely different school. So this guy's going off of that. This is the original school from 1969. It's led by General Yohana, Great Millstone GMS, led by Elder Tahar, and the Sakari, aka Exodus 1715, led by Guerrilla Hebrew. Anyway, let's see where the Spirit takes me now. Okay, this is a brother. I believe his name is Yashawan. The new song Ba. He does a series called World War III Update, I think it's called. So you can watch him. Brothers out there standing strong. Okay, let's come up here. Let's see what's up here. Anyway, let me do this here. Bear with me for a minute. I just wanted to pick up something. Okay, I think this is it. All right, listen up, listen up.
Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, the elect of Yahweh. Once again, it's another video. It comes to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yashad, Hashem Makar Kadash. All praises and glories definitely due, especially in the times we're living in. When you have so many Israelites that are just plain stupid. You know, they're not following the guidelines of what the scriptures say to do. They're doing their own thing. And here we have an example with this group you see here on screen, UIC. And what inspired me to do this video, hopefully it's edifying to you brothers, you true brothers.
Disappointed in the ruling.
An Oklahoma County judge striking down a temporary restraining order against the Israel United in Christ religious group after they demonstrated on the sidewalk outside of Ebenezer Baptist Church and several other Metro Black churches following Sunday services.
So stop this foolishness.
See, that's an example of being a Bible bully. Now,
Yeah, they're definitely going off by being out there because the scriptures, there's a lot of scriptures on this. The scriptures speak about, you know, the scripture in Matthew 7, it says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither thy pearls to swine. As a matter of fact, let me read that so that I don't botch it up. Matthew 7. Verse 6. Okay, it says fifth verse. We start the fifth verse. Thou hypocrite, and there being hypocrites, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. So, you know, the IUIC has failed to, you know, cast out the beam out of their own eye. Because they say, why you worship on Sunday? Where's that in the Bible? Friday is a day to worship. No, it's not. That's no, Friday's not, the word Friday's not in the Bible, and the word Sunday's not in the Bible. So that's the gospel according to Bishop Nathaniel. It says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs. These people are dogs. These people in the churches, the scriptures speak about them gathering in the harlot houses. Let me see if I can find that. Bear me for a minute. It's either harlot house or harlot houses. Let me come back. Harlot. Let's see what comes up. Bear me for a minute. Okay, I got to do it this way. I'm almost positive it's in the book of Jeremiah. Let me try it this way. Please bear with me. I didn't know I was going to go through this. Harlot houses. Harlot houses. Let's see what comes up. Okay, it's saying Jeremiah 5:7. Let's see if that's the case. Okay. Jeremiah 5:7. How shall I pardon thee for this? Thy children have forsaken me and sworn by them that are no gods. These people in the churches, leave them alone. When I had fed them to the full, they then committed adultery, because there's a lot of adultery going on in those churches, and a lot of, Moism. That's big in the church. And assembled themselves by troops in the harlot houses. So what's the harlot houses? That's these churches. A lot of debaucherous things going on there. So why would you try to wake these people up? So let's go back.
I wish I didn't send us out there to do acts like this. Okay, I wish I didn't send us out there to do acts like this. All right, I wish I sent us as sheep among wolves. Okay.
That's another good precept. Sheep among wolves. We are sheep in the midst of wolves. When you ever see a sheep with an AR-15 or Glock 9 on their chest, you got the Sakari out there with guns. You Homo sapiens and your guns, inside joke. You ain't supposed to be out there like that. The scriptures say, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. We are sheep in the midst of wolves. So we're not supposed to come out there as some army on a physical level. Our only job is, the Most High gave us, if we're prophets, is to teach the truth. Eat this roll and go out and teach the sons of Israel. In the meantime, when you see the nations, all you got to do is tell them, look, you're an Edomite, check your genealogy. If you're an Edomite, you're going into slavery. That's all they need to know. That's all they need to know. All those other nations, that's all they need to know. Not going out there with high-powered assault weapons. That's definitely not the spirit that the Lord was dealing with. So they're clearly going off. We are sheep in the midst of wolves. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. If it at all possible, that's in Romans, be peaceful walk peacefully, or be peaceful with all men. We're not a gang. Let's listen on.
He said to go to the highways and byways, the grand concourse, and set up and teach. And if they will hear, then they hear. That means they're part of the elect. But if they will not hear, if they will forbear, he said, just don't worry about it. Okay? And like I said, and I'll say it again, the majority of people.
Yeah, they're trying to force this thing down these churches. These people are not a part of the elect. The Most High is only dealing with the elect. The Most High didn't say your job is to wake up all of Israel. In Matthew, the 10th chapter, it says, you shall not go through all the cities until I become.
Israelites are going to reject this word. They're not going to accept it. Okay. We're only looking for the elect. So when you're only looking for the elect, you don't engage in stupid activity like this. You're trying to shove as if you you're the ones that bring in the Lord's fold, which is the elect. You don't bring them in. The Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshai, brings in his elect. And his elect is scattered all across the world. They could be anywhere. But obviously they have an agenda. This group has an agenda that is not part of true agenda which Yahweh Shem Yahshai gave us. Okay, they're doing their own thing.
The IUIC says it's carrying out a
Look at this marching. Come on, man. What what is this? What are they marching against? The walls of Jericho? That ain't the walls of Jericho, man. Marching like wooden toy soldiers. Like I said, they have their own agenda. This agenda is not part of the scriptures.
It's the Christian church movement.
The commandments of God are not being taught in the churches.
However,
They're not supposed to be taught in the churches. They're not supposed to be taught in the churches. These churches are against the Most High. Like I read in Jeremiah, they gather themselves as troops in the harlot houses. How are you going to wake them up? The Most High set them up not to wake up so they can be destroyed. The Most High speaks about a stumbling block. Let me get that stumbling block. Let me see how I'm going to do this. I'll go to Google. Do it this way. I put the stumbling block. Stumbling block. Stumbling block. Before them. Let's see what comes up. This is Romans 9, verse 33, King James Bible. As it is written, behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling block and rock of offense, and whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. So the stumbling block is this truth, but then you have false stumbling blocks. Give me a second. Let me do it this way. Matter of fact. Where was I? Anyway, let me do it this way. Romans, what is that? Romans 11 also comes to mind. Romans 11 and 9, you can start from 7. Stumbling block. Try it this way. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shall fear the Most High and the Lord, right? Okay, I believe this is Ezekiel 30, verse 20. Again, when a righteous man doeth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die. So that stumbling block is a church, the church system. Ezekiel 14, verse 3, Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart and put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face. Should I be inquired of at all by them? So these churches, you leave them churches alone, man. Here it goes again, 14 and 4. And putteth a stumbling block of his iniquity. The churches are the stumbling block, so you leave them alone. Ezekiel 14, verse 7, again. Which separated himself from me and setteth up his idols in his heart and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face. Romans 11, verse 9. And David saith, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. So when they go to try to, understand the scriptures, they're not going to get the understanding. It's a stumbling block. The Most High set up the stumbling block. The Lord said, I, the Lord, put that stumbling block before them. Vocab Malone is nothing but a stumbling block. Islam, a stumbling block. Sarnetta, a stumbling block. The Moors, a stumbling block. Okay, this is a good one. 1 Corinthians 8, verse 9. But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. What does that mean, this liberty? We give these brothers in GMS, they got liberty. They got camps out there and they're doing it. We ain't watching everything that they do. So every once in a while, we'll watch some of their videos that comes across us. But they're out there like Dallas to Dallas camp. I'm just using them as an example. We don't call them and say, look, brother, make sure you go out. We don't got to tell them nothing. They've been in this thing for going on 15 years. They're veterans, just to use them. The camps, there's more than one camp in Florida. There's camps all over the world. There's camps in Canada, GMS camps, as well as the other IUIC and different ISUBK camps and even Sakari. That's why the Southern Poverty Law Center mentioned the 4 top camps out there: IUIC, ISUBK, GMS, and Sakari. And Sakari stemmed from GMS. And that makes you other camps, you other 1992 Israelites, you old school dudes, what the hell are y'all doing, man? They ain't put you on the list because you ain't prominent, man. You ain't up there, man. You get your name on that list because you're doing work. You're doing work, man. Anytime you get into the conversation of so-called Black Hebrew Israelites or radical Hebrew Israelites, you got to mention IUIC, GMS, Sakari. Sakari's all over the goddamn place. They're going off though. Okay, so let me come back over here.
Baptist Church.
And that's the thing with this group, all about the commandments, the laws, the statutes, the commandments. That's another thing that we teach. No man, as it is written, no man is justified by the law. The justification comes from Yahweh Shai. If you're part of the elect of Yahweh Shai, you're going to be delivered. Simple as that, man. Now we give diligence to make our call and election sure. We're out there teaching and we do these videos. But at the end of the day, if you're not part of the elect, it doesn't matter how many videos you do. It doesn't matter how many times you go out there on the street and speak. There's a scripture where it says, they're going to say that certain Israelites, let me see if I can find it, have we not preached? I never knew. Let me get that.
Yeah, Matthew 7. But you know what? I wanted to find something here. Bear with me for a minute.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, they got the true many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, what would you do? That the Lord didn't send us out there as Bible bullies, right? Now, let me get back to the video.
Calling it harassment.
Why do y'all?
Exactly, that's what it is. It is a harassment, right?
Worship on Sunday. Where in the Bible can we read that?
We don't. Oh, wait a minute. There's hypocrisy on that group spot because they worship the so-called Sabbath on Friday. Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown. They keep the Sabbath.
Yeah. So you heard what the Apostle Kabar said, that the individual, the IUIC guys say, where in the Bible is Sunday? Well, my question is, where in the Bible is Friday? Let's find out. Maybe Friday is in the Bible. Let's find out. Let me put in the word Sunday. Sunday. It's not there. Well, they added that to there. That's these NLT. Early on Sunday morning, they went off. They know there was no Sunday, man. That's called conjecture. Let me put in the word Friday. Friday. Mark 15, verse 42. This all happened on Friday. No, Friday, they didn't know what day it was on. Luke 23, verse 54. This was done late on Friday afternoon, the day of preparation, as the Sabbath was about to begin. And this is from the NLT. So they went off. They went off. The Romans didn't have Fridays, Sundays, and all that. So this is called conjecture. So let's come back over here. So let me let you listen to this again.
Where in the Bible can we read that?
We don't. Oh, wait a minute. That's what it is. It is a harassment, right?
Worship on Sunday. Where in the Bible can we read that?
We don't. Oh,
So my question is, where is Friday in the Bible? Well, if you go to the NLT, it's in there. They're clearly going off. That's a poor translation. So Sunday is not there. So you don't worship on Sunday. And Friday is not in the scriptures. So you don't worship on Friday, sundown. What I meant by Friday is Friday sundown. They also say when you come in, you can only have one wife and you got to be legally married to her. If you have two wives, they're going to kick you out. And your wife, if you come in as a man into the truth in IUIC, your woman and your whole house got to believe. Well, the Apostle Paul made it clear in 1 Corinthians 7 chapter, if you have an unbelieving wife. So this is the gospel according to Bishop Nathaniel. That's all that is. Oh, another thing, he says, this individual, Bishop Kanai, said tithes has nothing to do with money. Now, when you go to, and I'm going to close it. Let's go to Genesis chapter 13. And there was another account in around about Judges, the 19th chapter, about that priest, the whole situation about the priest and the Benjaminites and his concubine, that a man took them in and offered him, I believe it was 50 pieces of silver a year, if not, or 10 pieces, it was 10 pieces of silver per year. And the man jumped on it. He said, yeah, I'll be your priest. So guess what? Was that a tithe? Of course it was. It was a payment. So Genesis 13. And Abraham went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abram was very rich in what? Cattle, in silver, and in gold. So now let's go from here to Hebrews 7. Okay, second verse. Hebrews 7, verse 2. And this Melchizedek is our Lord Yahweh Shai, to whom also, let me start from first. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, which means peace, priest of the Most High power. So he was a priest before, long before Levi as a baby was born, long before Jacob was born, long before Isaac was born, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth of all, first being interpreted king of righteousness, and then that also king of Salem, which is king of peace. So what is the tithes? The tithes do represent, it can represent corn, it can represent wheat, it can represent, grapes from the vine, but it can also represent silver and gold. It said that he gave him all that he had, a tenth of all that he had. And the word tithe simply means tenth. That's all it means. And it went to the Levites. So, but who was the ultimate Levite? Our Lord Yahweh Shai, which is Melchizedek. He was a high priest, a king, and a priest. It said king of Salem, priest of the Most High power. Let me look up the word priest, and I'm gonna get ready to close. A priest, one who offers sacrifices, and in general, and side, I can't even read it, busy with sacred rites, which is the Levites. The first priest of the Most High was Melchizedek, and he received the tithe from Abraham. So was he over Abraham? You got damn right he was over Abraham. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.